I genuinely believe that we are witnessing the first Protestant canonization right now. This is Charlie Kirk is going to be the first Protestant saint. And that's why Elder Talk 11, when he went and when he was done making kissy faces at the camera, there's been a shooting, and then pausing and going "Mwah," on the camera, and then turning his cap around. He ran over and grabbed a bunch of merch from the table. And it's that's the smartest possible thing you can do, because you're going to be able to take this to gigantic Bass Pro Shops and stuff and be you can have a piece of this true Are You Triggered Tour 2025 Change My Mind t-shirt that you can display in a box in your parking lot.
Listen, you can get the lawyers on this, but am I allowed to say that it's conceptually one of the funniest things to have ever happened to get nailed through the side of the neck from 200 yards away in the middle of a point where you try to pivot from transphobia to racism under a marquee that says "prove me wrong" on every side of it repeatedly?
I think specifically that he was specifically at that moment defending gun violence.
He was, yeah.
That is at least ironic.
He died doing what he loved.
I mean, he famously said that gun violence is a sad necessity of this world. So it's he should stand by what happened. Theoretically, he should be everyone in his orbit should be okay with that, because it's a consequence of the world we live in and the Second Amendment.
Fuck. By the way, welcome to TF. We have as our guest today, Juniper, June Sternbach from the Ill-Conceived podcast and the Kill the Computer podcast. Welcome, June, to the show. Sorry we got carried away and forgot to introduce you.
It's so fine, in the wake of this, it's been a weird day. I fell asleep at 5 a.m. I was just laying in bed thinking about this and what the possible consequences of this are and how influential Elder TikTok is going to be. And I've just been wrapping my mind around that. But no, thank you for having me. This is a wild day I don't know. This is a weird day. It's a weird fucking day.
We have been doubly overtaken. We were going to talk about something that was 4 topics ago, because we have doubly been overtaken by events. Before we started recording, I was we're Lance Stroll and events are Oscar Piastri. And we have been so overtaken. We hit the wall and events just kept passing us.
News is happening this week.
News is fucking happening.
Absolutely.
We were going to talk about something else. And you know what? Come back on. We'll talk about that other thing some other time.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll do.
Yeah. And then the time you come on, we find out that somebody blows up Ben Shapiro or whatever, God forbid.
It's shit, we got to push it back.
Yeah. It just it's between you and the Etsy witches, right?
Yeah.
Somebody, it's like a lower rent chud every time. We try and get you on and Steven Crowder gets launched into space like that Spanish prime minister.
I was thinking about him recently because he came up with Charlie Kirk, Ben Shapiro. They all came up at the same time. He really got the short end of the stick here. He's kind of a nobody at this point, right?
Hey, you know what? He's alive.
He is. Maybe he didn't get the short end of the stick after all. Yeah. Shit. Yeah. He got divorced. I think his wife hates him.
But even Charlie Kirk, right, is I would not consider him famous enough to be on the list of chuds that somebody was gonna shoot. He was kind of I was barely aware of him.
I think there's been this weird thing post-COVID where Charlie Kirk secretly became one of the most well-known political influencers in the United States. For me, I totally did not see that coming at all. I mean, I've known about him for a decade, been making fun of him this whole time. He was kind of a side character in a lot of politics. But I do think the crowd at his Utah event was massive. And that's Utah. I think he secretly kind of was the biggest right-wing influencer. I mean, he was in a close advisor to Trump. He was powerful, and I don't know when it happened exactly, but it was definitely the last year or two. Definitely the last Trump election is when this happened.
I think it's when right-wing politics became totally unmoored from being no, we're here to do the bidding of oil companies, and became we are here to fight win internet arguments.
Yeah.
And take internet arguments into real life.
What's interesting as well, because if you think about what his legacy was, right, a lot of the further right kind of Nazi than him hated him more than they hate leftists on the basis that he was the kind of sheepdog figure who staked out the maximally right wing position to be in that kind of orbit. And so you had guys like Nick Fuentes or whoever being like, why won't Charlie Kirk, talk about Israel or whatever it is? And after the kind of second Trump election, he kind of like abandoned a lot of that stuff, which really, makes transparent that this was a guy who didn't believe in anything, for one thing, but also means that when he got shot, my first assumption, and we still don't know, but like my first assumption was, oh, this is like chud on chud violence, Like this is a guy who has an inscrutable Groyper beef with him.
Yeah, I still low-key think that. I mean, there were people in the wake of this, Groypers, talking about how they never expected this to happen from the first Groyper war. I don't know if you guys know about the Groyper wars, but it was a very intentional, like, Groyper, Nick Fuentes sphere versus the Charlie Kirk sphere. Like, they have been mortal enemies, this world. So, like, we don't know anything. Of course, like, this is all speculation, but there's, like, a part in the back of my brain under one of the lobes that's like, this is absolutely, like, Groyper on, like, far-right Republican warfare is what this was. That's, like, my theory. I'm probably totally wrong. But this was, like, fomenting. Like, this is, like, the Groyper war shit.
Yeah, it was, as far as, like, and this could be, like, desinformatia or whatever, but the most recent thing that I saw was that they found, like, a bolt-action rifle in like a 30 caliber, like old hunting rifle with 4 bullets in it, one of them, or like 4 rounds in it, one of them fired, and transgender ideology engraved on the cartridge cases. I love that engraving stuff on your ammunition is a feature of the American Years of Lead. I think that's cool. That's distinctive.
We have seen that a lot recently. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know whether or not it is, but that particular combination of pro-trans old hunting rifle it might be the first red FUD assassination, like getting domed off by somebody who's like, no, you only need an SKS,
Like, what could trans ideology even be? Like, do we got like the magic symbols, like the different elements? Like, what do we got here?
What trans ideology can you engrave onto 4 bullets as well? It's like,
yeah, I guess that's 4 elements.
Yeah.
At that point, you're up to like, there is still time.
Body by estradiol valerate.
It's just, it's the chemistry. It's the chemical equation. Yeah. No, I don't know if I believe that. Like maybe, sure, maybe. But the longer this goes on, the more I'm like, okay, there's something crazy going on that they can't find this guy. Like, he's gone. Like, this guy's gone.
They haven't caught the killer because they replaced the top level of the FBI with podcasters who then replaced the mid-level of the FBI with like MAGA hat guys as opposed to all of the like feds. So really, they should have read the Book of Mormon and they should have kept all the like Mormon feds in there.
I do love that they replaced like all of the FBI agents with like their Patreon subscribers. They're like, all right, guys, you've given me like 6 years of support here. Like, let's investigate. You come on in, guys. Yeah.
One of the things that we talked about before, and I think it's worth bringing back up again, about just like how these state institutions, and we're looking at crumbling states in the US and Canada and Britain and all the places we talk about in Europe, and the features of social collapse are different everywhere. The features of social collapse in the States are distinctive, and it's very accelerated because I think that, you have and this is what I'm going to get to about speculating about the shooter or whatever. You have a febrile and agitating and enervating media environment that is all pervasive, that you can't escape and that you're encouraged to sink deeper into at every turn. You have awash in weapons where exemplary and spectacular violence has been repeatedly justified and thought about as inevitable. And then you have the closing off of every other possibility.
Yeah. And crucially, all of those done by, in the specific, this guy. Like, in terms of kind of like unintended consequences of your actions, this is fully like sawing at the branch that you are sitting on,
It does kind of feel like if your whole thing was like culture war, like that's your whole bit and you've made a lot of money from it and you've made a lot of like, your sort of position has very much been entrenched as like one of the guys sort of advancing culture war, but also you're telling your listeners who, at least a good portion of them do actually believe the stuff you're saying, that, oh, this is an existential war. Like, one of the things that I was thinking about was how, like, I was familiar with, like, Kirk from, like, 2017. And actually, he was one of the first big names that, like, fell for one of my stupid tweets about, like, the Muslim doctor. I was just like, oh, my God, like, that's a real, like, me and him, like, we go way back, man. to the point where, like,
I'm sorry about your friend. This must be a difficult time.
Well, we were mutuals until I nuked my Twitter account. So like, who really died first, right? But like, yeah, like you're like one of the big culture war figures, and your whole thing for like years and years has been like, oh, this is an existential war. And you went from sort of being like, trigger the libs, debate me type of guy to like towards the end of his life. Very much, he was there. I didn't keep up to date with his stuff, but from what I understand, like he did like kind of become an ethno-nationalist, right?